Welcome to another edition of Hustlers Kung Fu, where what we're going to talk about today is something that a lot of people are facing: how to effectively work from home. We have a lot of people who are stuck at home, and if you're fortunate enough to have a job, I'm about to give you some tips because I'm the work at home king. I've been working from home since 2009. So I'm going to give you some steps, some tips, and some things to help you go ahead and get your money up. Because for some people, this could be a time of opportunity if you learn how to work from home effectively, if you go ahead and get your game plan together. So I'm going to give you some tips. I'm going to give you some things that have allowed me to work from home for the last 10 years and be highly effective and make a lot of money. So with that, let's roll. This message was brought to you by Hustlers Kung Fu Life Skills. We started on the course Critical Mindset, which is a course that's going to help you have the proper mindset, develop that shark-like mentality where you can survive but thrive in these current economic circumstances. The link is below. So let's get into it. So you're going to be working from home. I'm going to give you a few steps of important steps of things that you need to do. The first thing you need to do is have a dedicated work at home space. Depending on where you live, if you have a big house, you can just turn the spare bedroom into a home office. This will drastically up your productivity. Let's say you don't have a house, you live in an apartment, let's say you got roommates. You need to carve out a nook or a space that is your dedicated workspace. Be it the kitchen, be it a side office, somewhere. This whole notion of working on your laptop from the sofa while the TV's blaring, that looks good, but that's not going to make you productive, because what's going to happen is you're going to want to watch television. You may even, if your couch is comfortable, you may even want to take a snooze. That is not going to make you rapidly productive. So that's the first step. Carve out a dedicated work at home space. Number 2, every day set a schedule. This is one of the things that can be somewhat daunting if you are an entrepreneur, because there's always something to do and you could literally work 24 hours a day. Once again, set a schedule. So get up at a certain time, and from these hours to these hours, you will be working. You're not going to be running errands. You're not going to be doing laundry. This is work time. And preferably, if you're fortunate enough to have the space, having a at-home office will create separation and boundary from the rest of the house. Because once you go ahead and you walk in that office, it's time to get to work, baby. It's time to be productive. Keep your kids out of your office. Keep your office, sacred, pristine. The office is the place where the work goes down. Number 3, this may sound a little crazy. You got your dedicated home office. You have a schedule. Number 3, you need to get up and dress like you were going to work. Now, this is my attire. I've been dressing like this for over a decade. So for me, this is work attire. But if you have a job where you wear business casual, you will get up, put on your business casual, and go to work. No sitting around with no shoes off and just lounging off in your favorite t-shirt. By dressing professionally and putting shoes on, you're going to send a signal to your body, it's time to get to work. Number 4, you need to have written goals for what you're trying to accomplish. You need to have a written agenda every day of what you're trying to do. This is so important because, like today, I've got many things that I'm going to do. Today is a Sunday because this is a work day for me, because usually I'll take a day off during the week. I've got a list of things to do, like shooting this video and shooting another video and doing a live stream tonight. That's all on my schedule. I already know what I'm going to do. I already know what time I'm going to have lunch, and this creates flow and efficiency. So having a written agenda for each day will help you. Now, I got a message for those of you who are in the situation where, because the live stream tonight is going to be fire. Well, it already happened last night because this is going to drop Monday morning. Once again, there are many of you who are going to be in a situation where you are not going to have a job. I mean, these be facts. I'm not trying to be an alarmist. I'm not trying to be Mr. Scary Boogeyman. It's just the reality of what's going on. I fully expect 25 to 50% jobless unemployment because of this pandemic. For some of you, if you're in the position, because if you're in the position where you have no money, you have no food, you have no gas, you have no paycheck, God bless you. I mean, that's scary, stress-inducing. Even I've been there. I've been in that situation where I didn't have any money coming in. I've been in that situation where I didn't have a job. I've been in a position where I wrecked my car, and I went through my own personal crisis, and it'll keep you up at night. I mean, just the reality. So once again, I got some tips for you people, because the first part of the video was for the folks who still have a job and how to be more productive and how to become a superstar and how to shine. For you guys, you've got to get deep in self-education. I know this is tragic. I know this is crazy. I know you're stressing out, but this could be a blessing in disguise. This is what I did when I was in that situation. I knew I needed more education. So, as in the previous video, you should be reading 1 to 2 hours a day. If you're unemployed, you might change that to 4 hours a day, 4 hours a day toward reading, self-study, learning new skills, watching YouTube videos. Because once again, you're gonna literally freak out if you sit and stew about your situation. So the best way to combat this is to be massively busy. If you don't have a job, this is what I want you to do. I want you to have a dedicated study space in your house. Number 2, I want you to have a schedule. Every day you're gonna get up at a certain time, and you're going to get dressed and you're going to go to school. You're going to go to YouTube University, you're going to go to Uni, or you're going to be at Hustlers Kung Fu Life Skills. You're going to be somewhere learning new skills each and every day that you're sitting at home, not getting paid. New skills, because this is what's going to pull you out of this. Part of the world's going to shut down and part of the world's not going to shut down. And I can tell you from experience, the internet's not going to shut down. In 2009, during the last recession, I started this business and it made me rich. I got rich during the recession. So once again, there's opportunities, but if you're freaking out, if you don't have a plan, if you're not trying to acquire more and new skill sets, you're just going to sit there and lose your mind. I was in a situation where, I got sick, my partner was diagnosed with cancer, and we had to liquidate everything in the warehouse, and it was just a really hard time. But once again, unlike many of you, and I understand that I have luxury, I'm in a good position. I have money in the bank, just like I did back then. I had money in the bank, so I was in a very good situation, and once again, I find myself in that situation because not only do I tell you these guys to do these certain things, I practice what I preach. There is a way out of this, because essentially what's going to happen is the government's going to suspend foreclosures, the government's going to suspend evictions, they're not going to cut your water and power off. At some point, you're going to have to pay these bills, but essentially you're not going to be homeless and you're not going to be without power and electricity, and the government is the stimulus checks are coming. They're coming. They're sending these checks. That's a real thing. It's not a joke. They're going to send you these checks, and this can hopefully help you get through this thing. I've never been through anything like this, and no one else who's listening to this video has been through anything like this. We have no clue to what's going to happen, and I have some educated guesses that it's going to get much worse before it gets better. So once again, go ahead and start learning. Put yourself in school. You're a student. I mean, because here's the thing, traditional hustling stuff is kind of suspended. There are people who are still buying houses. There are people who are still buying stuff on eBay and Amazon, and there's people who are still doing reselling, but it's come way down because most of America's holed up in their house and they're afraid to go outside. So until we get to some level of normalcy, because during the Great Depression, the stock market dropped for 3 straight years. It went lower and lower and lower. And I feel that we're going to experience something like that because of the lack of economic activity. Go ahead and start studying your butt off and make yourself more valuable when this situation starts to turn around, because a lot of you are going to be way behind. You're going to be behind on your rent. You're going to be behind on your utilities. You're going to be behind on your credit cards. You're going to be behind on your car payment. I don't know if they're going to suspend repossession of cars. I don't know if that's going to happen. Could happen, don't know if it's going to happen, but if it does, then you will still have your car outside and you won't have to worry about Mr. Repo Man creeping on your property at night, taking your car. You've got to go ahead, and this is something I have been screaming on this channel for the longest of times. You got to start a business. Even if you got a good job, you need to start a side business. I cannot tell you how often having a business has saved me. And yes, it's hard work, and yeah, you got to have delayed gratification. Yeah, you got to sacrifice. But once again, start your business. If you're sitting at home, sit down, because I'm going to be doing a lot of training. I'm going to be creating a lot of videos to give you guidance to help you go ahead and start making a way for yourself to make some money. This thing is real. You know, I heard that Boyce Watkins had put out a whack video talking about celebrities hadn't died. I'm like, oh Lord, I don't know what's up with that dude, because here's the thing. There are many people who are not taking this thing seriously, and we just do not have the medical infrastructure to deal with mass infection and people. We just don't. And that's the big fear. That's my biggest fear, because as someone who worked in the hospital, I know that if we have massive infection rates, guess what? If you work in the hospital, the doctors, the nurses, the people, they're also going to get sick because they're exposed to it every day. Their chances of getting sick, because I feel that my immune system was super good because I was exposed to tuberculosis. I actually stuck myself with a needle of an HIV patient. That was a freak out moment. For a while, I just didn't get sick because I was just dealing with all of these bugs every day. I mean, literally walking in the hospital is going to germ plantation. So once again, you know, be careful, be safe, make sure you wash your hands, make sure you hug your children. And also with this thing, study. Because once again, going back through your day, you're going to wake up, you're going to get dressed, you're going to go to school, you're going to have, and then at some point you're going to have a cutoff point. So maybe, you know, you'll start working at 8 o'clock in the morning and you'll knock off at 6. And this routine will help you keep your sense of mind, because just sitting around at home, laying in bed, freaking out, worrying about not having any money, that is not going to help you, and that's just going to make the situation much worse. Be sure to watch this video, and also be sure to share this video with someone who needs it. Be also subscribe, and I've got like 2,500 videos on this channel. So once again, go to the front of the channel and just start going through the inventory, pick a playlist. There's dozens of playlists. I'm going to work on kind of straightening it out a little bit, and then you can start to skill up and educate yourself on how the world works, because here's what's going to happen. Automation is about to come in like a chainsaw. There are many of you who are going to get laid off. You're not going back to your jobs. Your job's going to disappear. This is a global reset. China was the world's manufacturing engine for like the last 30 years. That's over. A lot of companies that were in China, they ain't going back. They're going to other places. This is a global reset. The dollar right now is the strongest currency on the planet. It's been a long time since that happened. This is a global reset, changing of guards, changing of technology. There's so many things that are going to happen. And also educate yourself. Read the online newspapers. Know what's going on in the world. Don't just sit around and be ignorant like these people on spring break, like I may get the corona. That was just ignorance on steroids. These people were out here doing stuff that could facilitate the virus, because here's how it works. I could get sick and become a carrier and not really have ill effects, but I can be a carrier and I can transmit this to people whose immune system may not be as healthy as mine, and then they can get sick and die. This is the big thing. And once again, these folks are just being selfish, they're ignorant, and they're uneducated, and they're out here just taking stupid risks, all in the name of, I gotta party. Be aware of what's going on. Because once again, you know, I have my personal finance channel, Savage Finance, and I've been looking at a lot of these guys, and they're just in denial. They keep like saying, you know, we may have a recession. We're in a recession right now. You wanna know why? Because the jobless rate is probably at 20% right now. That's twice what it was in 2008. In 2008 was rough for a lot of people. And they're just kind of hoping that the stock market's gonna bounce back real quick. because they've had 12 years of uninterrupted economic growth, and this is all they know. I've been through hard times. I remember growing up, and when we had the oil embargo, when you could only get gas on certain days. I grew up in a time where there were no cell phones, there was no internet, you only had one phone. You actually had to wait until someone called you and you call them back. I mean, it was a totally different world. And it's kind of funny because it's like we're kind of going back to that. And that's what the world I grew up in. Be careful where you get your information from, because there's a lot of people out here who are just saying, throw money in the stock market. And I'm like, pause, push the pause button. Stop contributing to your 401k. Like, if this thing turns around in 3 months, this ain't gonna kill you, and it's not gonna diminish your long-term gains. But start stacking your cash. Start putting your cash in the savings account and get rid of unnecessary expenses, because this thing is going to go on longer than many people think it is. And this is my big fear, because people are going to run out of money, and people are going to run out of patience, and people are going to start going crazy, because literally, it's only been a week, and a lot of people are like, hey, I'm going stir crazy already. But once again, arm yourself with knowledge, be massively productive, and go ahead, begin getting that work in. So with that, that's all I got for you guys today. Be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification, and more importantly, go to the front of the channel and begin to watch all of these videos. I've got tons and tons of videos for you guys to help you get this business education for the free 99. So with that, I'll see you in the next video.